Hi class. Today we're going to be looking at an image for the greenhouse effect. And remember, these lessons are really hitting two aspects. We'd really like you to not only understand the concept, but to get a better appreciation for how do you look at images and how you dissect them, right? So that's a skill that people in science or pretty much anyone needs to have. It's called visual literacy. So we're going to dissect this figure now and see what we can see. Okay, so first thing I notice when looking at this is I look for the legend. And so here we can see the legend where it lists all the components in the picture, and it looks like it has most of the parts. The only thing that's not labeled is this element and this element and this element. So if I was, though, predicting, I would say this is probably the sun and this is the earth. We don't have a title built into this image, so that would have helped. So after you look at the title, which usually tells you the objective of the image, so we're left without that, so we're going to have to guess on that one. Okay, so now that we know the different parts, if we have a question, we can always pop back to the legend. But it looks like the main actor is the sun, and so we have some light coming from the sun and hitting the earth. And this symbol, I guess, is also not identified, and so it looks like, or it should be, that it's absorbed by the planet. Okay, and it looks like then this is a clock, so it probably represents time. So sometime later, it looks like that the Earth emits something, which, going to the legend, says it's infrared radiation. So look, it's actually it's at two different forms here. So it looks like it's coming in as sunlight, but then it's leaving the planet as infrared radiation. So there must be a transition here from one form of energy to the next. And the interesting thing is, look here. So it looks like that the sunlight is passing through the atmosphere, and here, when it hits it, it looks like, again, it's being absorbed. Excuse that brush. It's being absorbed and then re-emitted in smaller infrared radiation, but then from all directions. So I think the main message of this image, therefore, is that it looks like light comes from the sun, gets absorbed by the planet, and at some later time, the planet then emits infrared radiation, which hits the greenhouse gas particle. It doesn't really hit any atmosphere to know whether or not that's also capable. But once it hits a greenhouse gas, it looks like it's absorbed and then re-radiated out. So one of the things that I like about this picture is that you'll notice that the atmosphere is represented in little dots, as opposed to normally what we see is that the atmosphere is kind of represented as a layer, right, that's above the Earth. And you assume that viewers will then think of this as all being atmosphere. But what we find is that a lot of students or novices get confused between the atmosphere and the greenhouse effect, as they get that confused with the ozone layer.